If Donald Trump is convicted and has to go to Rikers Island, I'm going to commit a crime in the tri-state area.
Oh.
The Kimmel showdown continues. Jimmy Kimmel, armed with his sharp wit, targets Donald Trump once more. This time, he's plotting a jailhouse jest, aiming to drive Trump insane if he gets convicted. Will the laughs ever cease?
Joining me is Adam Crichton, the Washington correspondent for the Australian newspaper. Great to see you, Adam. Look, if this wasn't Donald Trump, would the Democrat prosecutor have charged him?
Certainly I don't think so. In fact, the previous DA, Cyrus Vance, I believe his name was, he looked at these charges in 2019, 2020, and he declined to bring them. So I think there's a strong chance that these are politically motivated. Of course, they were brought last year by the Democrat Alvin Bragg. He's raised $800,000 at least from this indictment so far. So it's clearly benefited him personally. So look, I think you have to have quite a lot of sympathy with Donald Trump's argument that this is a very politically motivated prosecution.
Yes, we must remember that Bragg is an elected official and therefore he needs that cash raising for his election expenses. Bingo! Maximum penalty that Trump faces, 4 years jail. What are the odds?
Well, it's 4 years. It's actually 4 years per count. So it's 4 times 34 in theory, which I'm sure the former president would not get. Look, of course, it only takes one of the 12 jurors to dismiss the case, but even that could be a tall order in Manhattan, where something like 88% of voters voted for Biden at the 2020 election. So look, there's a high chance, I think, that he might be convicted. Now, that means that the judge will have to sentence. I don't think a judge would give him jail time. These are unusual charges. And of course, he's a former president. He's also the Republican nominee. So I think it's very unlikely that he got jail term, but I think he could get a conviction. And in that case, he could also take a hit in the polls. That's what some polls suggest at the moment.
Well, that's an interesting point, Adam, because look, so far it seems that Donald Trump has raised a ton of money, has risen in the polls, claiming that he's a victim of the corrupt deep state operation, Democrats misusing the judicial system to try and put him away because to protect Joe Biden. Do you think that they will actually reverse now if he's actually convicted?
Well, look, I don't think so, because people made those same arguments when the indictments came out that they would hurt him, and they simply didn't. I mean, you could actually say that the 4 criminal indictments against him have really powered his whole political renaissance, I think you'd have to say. I mean, they've made him much, much more popular, including among independent voters. So if the aim was to damage him, so far it certainly has done the opposite. But going forward, what does a conviction mean? Look, I mean, I tend to not think it'll make any difference, because everyone's already absorbed all this information. They've already made up their mind about whether he's guilty or not. This has been in the public domain for years. So I don't think a conviction is really going to make too much difference. Where it does make a difference, of course, is it could, in theory, see him completely barred from campaigning. But that said, focus on these cases is a lot of earned media for the Trump team, and they seem to have helped him so far.
Except, of course, it's a rather grubby hill to die on, hush money for a porn star.
Yes, look, that's right. Although, as someone told me recently, Alexander Hamilton paid hush money. So anyone who's seen the Hamilton Broadway play will not think it's particularly unusual.
Well, thank you very much for that cultural reference. The always cultured Adam Crichton. Thank you so much indeed for your time, mate.
As Trump teeters on the edge of conviction, Jimmy's hilarious and outlandish plans promise to keep us all entertained. Buckle up for a wild ride through Trump's courtroom antics and Kimmel's unbeatable satire.
On TV, please welcome to the show the host of Jimmy Kimmel Live, my friend and Brooklyn's finest, Jimmy Kimmel, everybody.
Let's dive deep into the saga that just keeps giving, Donald Trump's endless parade of legal woes. If you think your day was rough, just wait till you hear about the former president's courtroom dramas.
Documents. In total, Mr. Trump's charges tally 88, 44 federal, 44 state, all of them felonies and winding through the courts at different speeds. Each charge painting a complicated legal picture, all as he vies to reclaim the White House from President Joe Biden.
First up, let's talk about Trump's legal troubles. It's like a never-ending reality show, except instead of rose ceremonies, we've got court summonses. Trump's hopping from one courtroom to another like he's on a judicial tour of America.
The first ever criminal trial of a U.S. president is taking place in Manhattan over the next 6 weeks. Mr. Trump faces 34 charges tied to a hush money payment to an adult film star toward the end of his 2016 campaign. Trump stands accused of falsifying business records in the first degree. Prosecutors say Trump fraudulently disguised repayments to his personal attorney as corporate legal expenses in violation of New York law.
Whether it's the hush money scandal, obstruction of justice, or his creative handling of classified documents, Trump seems to have a court date for every occasion. Remember when we first heard about the hush money trial with Stormy Daniels? The story alone could make a whole season of a soap opera.
Point, while Stormy was recounting the story about spanking Trump with the Forbes magazine, Judge Merchan pulled one of his lawyers aside to issue a warning after Trump appeared to mutter bull S-word under his breath. Judge said he chose to speak to the lawyer privately so as not to embarrass.
Stormy, a former adult film star, claimed that Trump paid her hush money to keep quiet about their alleged affair. And as if the story wasn't juicy enough, Trump's lawyer at the time, Michael Cohen, added fuel to the fire by confirming the payments.
He once boasted he would take a bullet for Donald Trump, but is now at the center of the case against him. Michael Cohen took to the stand Monday to testify against his former employer, who he said had complete and intimate knowledge of a scheme to bury uncomfortable stories during the 2016 presidential campaign.
What I was doing was at the direction and benefit of Mr. Trump.
Now, Trump's not just dealing with hush money scandals, he's also tangled up in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. It's a mess of missing documents and misplaced secrets.
The next case that will likely see him in court pertains to mishandled classified documents that the former president took from the White House to his Mar-a-Lago residence after he left office. He faces 40 felony counts, the majority falling under the Espionage Act. These charges could, in theory, lead to substantial prison time if Mr. Trump is convicted. But any trial will likely take place after November's election.
Trump's valet, Walt Nauda, testified that Trump handpicked which boxes of documents to return to the National Archives, like he was sorting through old junk in his attic.
May 2022 FBI interview with Walt Nauda, in which they're asking him about these boxes and what he knew about it. Here, let's put up a part of this where Walt Nauda says, describing what's in these boxes, he says, a lot of his personal items carry the same. It's still in the same box. The FBI agent says, but now you're looking inside of these boxes. Nauda says, his personal items. And then they continue to talk a little bit about exactly what's in these boxes. FBI agent says, and when you say personal items, what are personal items? And Nauda responds, hairspray and shampoo.
But of course, the FBI noticed. They always notice. Trump directed his staff to hold back dozens of boxes, adding another layer of intrigue and suspicion to his already murky case.
In those boxes, what they say were in those boxes were hundreds of classified documents, some of them of the highest nature, highest sensitivity for the U.S. government. And one of the reasons why this interview was happening, Wolf, was because FBI agents wanted to know whether they needed to warn the intelligence community about perhaps possible dangers.
With all these legal issues, you'd think Trump would be keeping a low profile, right? Wrong. Trump can't seem to stay out of trouble. Enter the gag orders.
Why Trump hasn't already been punished for violating the gag order, I don't know. I'm sure he's driving his lawyers nuts. 20 minutes after his lawyer told the judge, President Trump is being very careful to comply with your order, Trump very carefully posted this highly conflicted, to put it mildly. By the way, you can't put it mildly when you're using all caps. It's impossible. Judge Juan Merchan has taken away my constitutional right to free speech. Everybody is allowed to talk and lie about me, but I'm not allowed to defend myself. This is a kangaroo court, and the judge should recuse himself. He violated the gag order during a hearing about whether he violated the gag order.
You see, when you're involved in a high-profile case, the judge might tell you to zip it. No talking about the case in public. But telling Trump to be quiet is like telling a dog not to bark. It's just not going to happen.
Keeping me in a courtroom that's freezing, by the way, in a courtroom all day long Well, he's out campaigning. That's probably an advantage because he can't campaign. Nobody knows what he's doing. You can't put two sentences together.
The courtroom sketches from these trials have also become a source of amusement. Without cameras in the courtroom, we're left with these sketches that sometimes look more like they belong in a cartoon strip than in a serious legal proceeding.
This one commemorates the moment Don told Don Jr. that Santa isn't real,
And let's not forget the latest development, Trump's pyramid scheme dinner party at Mar-a-Lago. In the midst of his legal battles, Trump found time to host a lavish dinner for his NFT buyers, who spent $99 each on digital photos of Trump looking like a superhero.
Can't argue about the fact these NFTs are aesthetically quite stunning. I mean, just look at all the time and talent that went into this.
As Trump continues to juggle his various legal issues, one thing is clear: he's not going down without a fight. Now, let's dive into the heart of the show, where Jimmy Kimmel sits down with Seth Meyers to talk about the juiciest topic, Trump's trial and the hilarious fallout.
If you're here through 2028 at least, and I hope longer than that, you'll get to be here when Trump runs for president again.
No.
You'll be here through
For
the whole
another re-election
next one,
campaign,
too.
yeah.
Have you gone down to the courthouse? Because I've been thinking about going down.
Picture this: Jimmy Kimmel, the king of late-night comedy, being mentioned in the same breath as Trump's legal proceedings. He enjoyed every bit of it.
I was excited to be mentioned. I don't know why I was excited to be mentioned, but I was definitely excited.
Jimmy begins by recalling the fantastic times he had at the White House Correspondents' Dinner when he had teased Trump. Nobody could have imagined at the time how deeply Trump would delve into turmoil in the political and judicial spheres.
I thank you. I appreciate that. It doesn't compare to making so much fun of him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner that he actually ran for president.
Fast forward to now, and Jimmy finds himself unexpectedly connected to Trump's hush money trial. This was because Stormy had appeared on Jimmy's show discussing her involvement with Trump.
Stormy Daniels, to whom it may concern. Over the past few weeks, I've been asked countless times to comment on reports of an alleged sexual relationship I had with Donald Trump many years ago. The fact of the matter...
From there, Jimmy takes us into his wild fantasy plan if Trump actually gets convicted and sent to jail. This is where it gets hilariously dark. He expressed his excitement about Trump being convicted.
Now, what do you think would have you thought about what would happen if he actually was convicted?
If he is convicted... Yeah, I have thought about this. I dream about it.
Okay.
I really hope it happens.
Okay.
I don't...
Jimmy envisions himself committing a crime in the tri-state area with the sole purpose of getting locked up in the same prison as Trump. Imagine that. Jimmy Kimmel as Trump's cellmate.
Okay.
So what my plan is, if Donald Trump is convicted and has to go to Rikers Island, I'm going to commit a crime in the tri-state area.
Oh.
And with the goal of getting incarcerated along with him so I can drive him insane from the inside, too. That's what I want to do.
Jimmy's plan includes holding daily talent shows in their cell where he and the host would perform monologue jokes all about Trump's past blunders.
Monologue jokes?
Just jokes about him.
Yeah.
We'll go through old clips. Like, remember when you were president, you said this?
I'm holding up a phone over your shoulder that's playing clips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could do this. I would love that.
That's not where the humor ends. Jimmy makes fun of the ridiculousness of it all as he imagines them going through Trump's infamous NFT sales. In case you missed it, Trump charged $99 for each digital trading card that featured him dressed like a goofy superhero.
An important announcement to make. I'm doing my first official Donald J. Trump NFT collection right here and right now. They're called Trump Digital Trading Cards. These cards feature some of the really incredible artwork pertaining to my life and my career. It's been very exciting. You can collect your Trump digital cards just like a baseball card or other collectibles.
Jimmy envisions them reenacting the NFT sale pitches, complete with over-the-top enthusiasm and fake mustaches. The best part? Jimmy's relentless teasing of Trump's eating habits.
I think we should bring him a whole bunch of little bottles of ketchup. Because you're not allowed to eat in the courtroom, not allowed to drink in the courtroom. Ketchup falls in that kind of gray area.
Condiments are allowed, yeah.
That I think he could get away with a little bit of that.
Everyone knows Trump loves his ketchup. In fact, James Corden once shared the reporter's findings on Trump's order on his late-night talk show.
Donald Trump ordered a $54 dry-aged steak, well done, and ate.
By the end of their discussion, it's clear that Jimmy's fantasy of being Trump's cellmate is a comedic goldmine. It's a perfect blend of satire, absurdity, and biting humor. He even mentioned the fact that Trump might hat him and Seth Meyers.
We know he hates us.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you found out he really, really hated us? I was on a week-long camping trip where there were no motors or phones or anything allowed. And when I got off the river, my phone clicked on and I just got message after message after message about Trump bashing us.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, I'm back in civilization.
While the real-life consequences of Trump's legal troubles are severe, Jimmy's take provides a much-needed laugh in the midst of the chaos. As they wrap up the segment, Jimmy and the host agree that no matter what happens, they'll always find a way to turn Trump's misadventures into comedy.
How close do you think we could get to him? And I mean emotionally.
Well, the funny thing is we could, based on the amount of people there, we could just go and wait in line and get in, and he'd be so rattled if we were there.
Oh, yeah,
It would be like that SNL sketch where all of a sudden Keenan realized Beavis and Butthead are there. He'd be like... He'd have the same reaction.
Except even Beavis and Buttheadier than that.
Yeah. After all, that's what late-night shows are all about, finding the humor in the absurd and the laughter in the madness. And with Trump, there's never a shortage of material. And now for some comedic relief. Picture a short sketch of life in jail with Trump and Kimmel, Jimmy hosting talent shows, Trump trying to run a campaign from the yard, and ketchup bottles everywhere. Imagine Trump's classic reactions to Jimmy's relentless jokes, the exaggerated frowns, the eye rolls, and the indignant huffs. That's it for today, folks. Stay tuned for more highlights and don't miss our next episode. What do you think would happen if Jimmy Kimmel and Trump were cellmates? Leave your wildest ideas in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.